doing construction for about 15 years. Thank you. There you go. I was doing VDC before we had a department. I was officially a project engineer, but actually I went to school for industrial design, art school, basically, automotive design. And then got into construction, supposed to be temporary while I was looking for a job. Long story, they took notice and said, hey, we want to hire you. You want to go to Newfoundland? I said, yes. Where's Newfoundland? And anyway, a boss in there, she wrote me on the map, and I go up to Newfoundland, and I'm on this giant project. I mean, it was like $8 billion or something, humongous project, big nickel processing plant, and I'm brand new to construction. I don't know anything, but they have this beautiful Navisworks model, and I jump on that, and all of a sudden I have answers. Like people would come to me with questions, I got a model, I get answers. So, became the model guy. I learned model stuff in school. It was for cars, it's for construction. It's all the same. Anyway, so fast forward, I was on the road for maybe 8 years. Now I'm into the main office as VDC, and we got a department growing, a growing department now. And here's my first cartoon. So I just want to kind of explain my thoughts around the whole concept of cmBuilder at Alberici. So, obviously it's create pursuits, and that's, our main use is for pursuits. And it's wildly popular. But what I'm seeing is, as other people have mentioned today, the handoff from pursuit to project. So that's been a struggle point traditionally. I've been working in recent years with the pre-construction group, all the different markets. We have many different markets at Alberici. They operate very differently for many reasons, but across the board, as they go from pre-construction, where they've got this wonderful plan, they've got it all figured out, then it sits for a while. If it does get awarded, it becomes a project. Other new people get involved. They pick up a blank sheet of paper and make up their own plans, and a lot of that effort, that thought, that knowledge from the pre-construction estimating team gets lost along the way. So cmBuilder seems to be a way to connect the dots between all those things. So everyone is tied into cmBuilder. All the different departments are using it one way or another, whether they are actively in there using it or whether it's someone like me running it for them or putting it together for them. It is extremely useful as a focal point. So as I say up here, pre-construction engages VDC very early. That is like the biggest benefit I'm seeing in cmBuilder, is VDC gets involved at the very beginning. The earliest stages of pursuit, VDC is involved. And then because of the way all the different teams are using cmBuilder, all the way through to when it becomes a real project, VDC stays involved the whole time. And I know we're all trying to figure out how will cmBuilder get used on a project as the project goes to completion. And we're still trying to figure that out. But one thing it's doing is it's keeping us involved and allowing us to engage with the team, talk to the team, and say, okay, now this needs to go to BIM coordination. We're going to send you over to this group. They're going to do that for you. Or you need lift drawings, concrete lift drawings. So we're going to send you over with this group, get them involved. So we got some weekly meetings going where cmBuilder is the focal point, and we bring other teams involved. Do you need CFT, our construction field technology, drone scans, laser scans, that type of thing? We bring people in, but cmBuilder is the focal point and the main jumping off point, and it's becoming, what we call the model. So. A lot of different departments use the model different ways, but now the model is becoming cmBuilder. So I'm going to talk about different ways the different markets are using cmBuilder and how it's so. Someone earlier said it was Aaron said he's going to zoom out and talk about big picture. I'm going to kind of zoom in and just show you how we're actually using it on different projects, mostly pursuits. Most everything I'm going to show you is from a pursuit. Unfortunately, Alberici, which I didn't talk about, but we're a big company, but we do mostly government, military, infrastructure. We do a lot of really big stuff that I can't show you and I can't talk about. So, you can imagine how frustrating that is. Like, go present, but don't show any of our really cool, really good stuff. So I'll show you what I can, but crane planning. So this has been a huge boom. So I mean, this really kick-started things. The fact that you've got all these cranes in there, and then that you guys can model anything we need and very quickly. And I mean, you've modeled all kinds of cranes for us that have been extremely useful for making our plans. And I mean, this is big stuff. You know, you one of these cranes, you know, might cost you like $1 million for a few weeks or something. So you really want to pick the right thing. You want to be sure you're making the right decisions. And so at Alberici, we have, you know, we have people that are very knowledgeable about cranes, have a long history of working with all different types of projects, all different types of cranes, but they're these old school guys, you know, they're superintendents, they've been out there doing the work, they're not, you know, pulling up the model, you know. So in order to connect those people with the people making the decisions on the estimating team, the pre-construction, you know, there's a big gap between those two type of people. There's a purely office person, purely field person, and now with cmBuilder as a focal point, everybody comes together, they all understand what they're talking about. You know, we're all on the same page. When somebody's talking about what the big crane can do, the other guys can see it and it all makes sense. So yeah, this is just an example of one of the big cranes you guys have made for us. All kinds of really cool, special custom jobs like you're talking about. And the fact that all you guys are doing resource requests and I'm able to access all this stuff, I mean, it's just incredible. So now I'll start talking about the Google Earth. So obviously, we all know you bring in Google Earth, but it's just the biggest advantage. I mean, this is another thing that just jumped us way ahead. So coordination, right? We do BIM coordination. It's inside the building. We coordinate all the parts and pieces of the building. Now we're able to do coordination with the surroundings. You know, it's still coordination. You know, it's model coordination, but it's planning. It's coordinating with the actual project. You know, I mean, this is an example where we're adding a lot of new systems inside of an operating plant. So I mean, very complicated, very tricky, very difficult, very little access. I'm not going to talk about the details, but a perfect situation for using cmBuilder and getting the crane in there and trying to figure out what can it actually do. And I mean, I should back up and explain that I was already doing this type of thing, like you know, scenarios, modeling scenarios, site logistics, construction logistics, but I was doing it using other software. And we're talking about photorealism. I was making really amazing looking photorealistic, you know, incredible things, but it would take me forever compared to cmBuilder. I mean, I literally would take 20 times as long, maybe more. And now, I mean, I could make something in a meeting. You know, maybe I do the model setup, but an hour meeting wouldn't be really productive. We can actually make, you know, a whole scenario, mock it up, figure out if it'll work, find out, oh, it doesn't work, and then, you know, totally switch gears and go figure out a new plan. You know, all within like an hour. I mean, it's really incredible. So we're focusing on industrial process, heavy industrial. These are the ones that have the really heavy picks, the big giant cranes, and obviously, you know, those will go through and get engineered. But between this and we use a software called 3D Lift Plan, which is a great partner to cmBuilder. Between those two things, we can really work out a pretty solid crane plan before we ever try to send it out to engineering or go, you know, to that step. Talk a little bit about how these markets previously, talking a few years ago or even more recently, had sometimes no models available, at least at the time of pursuit, even towards becoming a project. And if they did have models available, they're very limited, like, you know, AutoCAD or some kind of obscure software that you know, nobody's used or nobody's heard of. I mean, I got a new one the other day. It was something nobody ever heard of, and you couldn't export it. Anyway, long story. Weird software. And now, because of cmBuilder, we can make a model even if we don't have anything. I mean, I'm making models for projects that have no models sometimes, you know, and then now we've got a model, and the whole project, the whole team is getting model focused. So now we'll talk a little bit about crane plans for steel fabrication. So we own a steel fabricator, Hill Steel Fabricators, and they are primarily focused on steel fab, but also steel erection. That's something they do as a service, and often we need to coordinate with other companies, our erection plan or sequence and all that. And I mean, this has been extremely useful for that team. I mean, I talk about being an industrial cartoonist. Sometimes they say, the Cartoon Network over here, and it's, they're joking, but they want it. Like, can we have more cartoons? Can you bring us more cartoons? And I just want to say real quick about the photorealism. I embrace the cartoon nature because if you see them side by side, say a drone image or a photograph in cmBuilder, it's a lot easier to see the plan in cmBuilder. So I don't want you to go too far away, or at least make it optional. Give me my classic view if you're going to go to photorealism, because I appreciate making it cartoony, making it simple. That's what we're trying to do. That's what I've been doing since I got into construction. It's just trying to make something very complicated seem very simple, look very simple. And cmBuilder is great at making complicated things seem simple. So you'll notice I'm not going to talk specifically about too many of my projects or in detail about what we see here, but they're self-explanatory. That's the whole idea, is you make images that you don't have to really explain. They make sense at first glance. You look at this and it kind of, you can start to understand them without knowing what we're doing here, what we're building. You can get something from these images. I got to keep my eye on the time, but I'm just going to keep powering through. I got a bunch of images mostly. Marine. So this is another market where previously very limited models, maybe none. Even if we did get a model, now you've got some, piece of concrete or something that's floating in space, and that's your model. And that's great, but what's that going to do for a superintendent who's trying to get you, a crane and a barge and trying to explain it to somebody out there? So now with cmBuilder, the real world environment, Google, whatever, you're able to make a model of something where, the thing that we're actually building, or what we'd have a model of, is not much to look at, right? But here, a whole plan, right? So, in this example, there's very little that would be the actual model of the thing that we're installing, and the people who are going to be doing the work wouldn't learn much from the model of the thing we're installing. It's basic shapes, So here's another example. We do a lot of, obviously, Alberici, based out of St. Louis, Missouri, on the Mississippi River. We do a lot of infrastructure projects like I talked about, but we do all up and down the Mississippi River, locks and dams, and big government jobs. In fact, one of them was one that got us to use cmBuilder in the first place. We had done a trial of cmBuilder, and then I heard through the grapevine from our Canadian branch that you guys have made some big advancements and solved some of the problems that we had at the trial period years ago. And I, as I said, was doing my logistics in a very complex way with a lot of different software, and I had a project team on these big infrastructure projects who wanted to do it themselves. And I'm telling my boss, I can't teach them how to do it the way I do it. They'll think I'm nuts. I can't teach them this. So, what about cmBuilder? That, they could do that. So then we got cmBuilder sort of for that team. And as I trained them, and then everyone else found out about it, blah, blah, blah. Now it's extremely popular, and it's where I spend most of my time. So the reason I'm showing you this one here is I had done this when we bid on this project the first time in my old method, the long time consuming but beautiful method. And it took months working with the team off and on. And then this one, I got it on my desk 2 days before the proposal, maybe a day or whatever it was. Like, hey, you sprinkle some BIM on this for us? And we're lucky that, yes, I can. And so we put this together. I mean, they're real fast. It was like a few hours, and we gave it to them, and they put it in the proposal. Another example of the kind of thing I'm talking about, marine market. I mean, there's no model here. This is just cmBuilder. We bring in the Google Earth and all the other stuff. But this is our Humboldt shipping yard in St. Louis. So we have property down on the river where we, say, build something. We fabricate in Hillsdale, and then we put it on a barge and send it upriver, downriver, that type of thing, receive things. Anyway, this is a project. I mean, it's not a project, it's a site that we use, but it's not like we have a model. There's nothing to have a model. But now we have a model of Humboldt, and people are using it for lots of reasons. You know, it's a model made from scratch, you know, of just, on that note, another market that we have not had a lot of luck tapping into traditionally is the wastewater market. It's a relatively new market for Alberici, I mean, 10 years old or something, but again, you don't get models early on. If you do, wastewater jobs are all underground. So, I mean, if you're looking at the site, there's nothing. You know, what are you going to see? You're going to see a model. They're all, again, just floating in space, and it doesn't really mean a whole lot to anybody. You know, I've been on wastewater jobs, and they have a model, and they weren't, you know, referencing it that much, because what's it going to tell you? When you're digging holes in the ground, you know, looking at a model of what's going in the hole is not that helpful. So, anyway, we have models we make for building things, but for just understanding a project, the cmBuilder is helping, or it's finally tapping into the wastewater market a little bit. We don't have an actual project. So part of this talk is about, you know, going from pursuit to project. So we have a lot of examples of pursuits and a few real projects. So we've had cmBuilder maybe a year now, and we're just now seeing some of those pursuits go to project, but it's a slow process. So talking about sequence, you know, I just like having lots of pictures, so be clicking through these, but you know, this gives a way to explain the plan, which, as I said, would all be underground. I mean, this kind of stuff, you really have to have, you know, a background and knowledge to pick all this up from 2D plans or markups or sketches. So this put together with the superintendent, and I mean, he's just eating it up. He loves this, and I'm working towards training people, and, you know, I had some conversations with people about training superintendents, and I think they are into it. They want to learn, and I think I need to arrange a superintendent-specific training for cmBuilder, so that even if they're not the ones clicking the buttons for the most part, they'll know what's possible, and they'll get their people to do it on site. So yeah, clicking through the wastewater and sequencing, you know, other projects. This is a mass timber building. Again, superintendent giving me laying out the whole plan. So typically I work, you know, with one person if possible, like a superintendent, but we'll get more cooks in the kitchen if we need them. But so another sequence example from a different market. This is solar. So this one's kind of funny because they wanted something 4D, and you know, as you can see, it's a pretty flat project. It's humongous, and there's a giant solar field, solar panels, covering a massive area. But you know, a 3D model of a huge flat project that's out in a flat part of the country. All the stuff we're doing is spread out flat over a big wide area. If I show you a model of a, you know, tiny little solar panel, I'm not going to do much for you. So in order to give them something, I just put something together with a gajillion zones and layered them up. And then Pedro saw that you should use massing, and so we did that. And anyway, so we came up with a format that they were able to successfully communicate their schedule visually, and you know, when we get another solar field, it's kind of a copy-paste type of setup. It should be pretty straightforward on the next one. So now I'm going to show you just a few of actual projects, and some of these were you know, already a project when we got cmBuilder. So like this example, this one, so the name of this one, this is Mercy South Hospital in St. Louis. So this is a good example because the team really jumped on this and had a good idea of what they wanted to use it for early on. So they literally went from, you know, a 2D logistics plan to a 3D, and I mean, it was like an exact copy. They just took exactly what was shown on the 2D and put it into 3D. And that worked very well. It was a good idea, and it worked out. And they made use of, you know, some of the icons and stuff. Keep your eye on that one right there. A little test. I did a custom signage because that was an important thing for the owners. That the construction, that no traffic other than ambulance goes down every dotted line. So you'll see there it went from it's a custom icon, and then it's a sign that's in the line. And we did that with a few things around each project. But my favorite thing about this project is that it's mostly been made by people that weren't me. So, you know, most all of the things that are happening at cmBuilder at Alberici, I mean, to be real, it's me doing the button clicking. I've got a couple of people on a VDC department who are very capable and help me from time to time. Our partner company, Flintco, I've got a champion over there who's doing a lot of great work, and ACL up in Canada. I got a couple of guys up there doing some great work, but at Alberici main office, it's pretty much me, and it's getting to the point where you know, people are seeing all this stuff and they love it and they're great, and they know people have been involved. Have you seen, and we want you to work over here, have you seen what this team's doing? Have you seen what that team's doing? Have you seen what this? Like, well, yeah, I saw it. We made that stuff. But yeah, I saw it. Anyway, so there's a little, it's a little hard to get people trained and using it. So I've been doing training. I'm getting everybody up to speed. And it's either it's a hit or a miss. Some people, they see it, they understand what it can do, and they want someone else to do it. Or somebody maybe with some background in modeling or 3D or something, they might jump on and be like, I can do this, and they just jump right into it. So I've got a handful of people who are really just off and running and doing it on their own, and this is a good example of that. So there were people other than me putting it together in the first place, and then there are people other than me using now, sequencing out the whole project and everything. And he did a great job. I went in there, I checked, and he had sequenced out all the steel and all this stuff. And realistically, that's the use case for people other than me, or say other people on a job site, the project engineer, the sequencing. That they can really jump on that, get their hands on that, and they can run with that. And I think they're just a little scared of modeling. You know, everybody's always like, don't want to mess it up. I worry about it. Tell them, get your own little scenario, your own scenario. You're not going to mess it up. They're still a little worried about it. So I'm trying to get past that point, get more people editing in here beyond just sequencing, but we're still working on it. This project is it's not the most complicated project. It's pretty basic, but it's a really good example of the handoff. So in the beginning, I was talking about trying to hand off from pursuit to project. This is one we made a pursuit model. Again, it's pretty straightforward, you know, not an extremely complicated job, but we got the job, and then we do a few things to kind of pump it up. And we've done this on all the ones that are real projects. So we do things like the drone scan. So in this case, we brought in a drone scan and the drone imagery, and we were able to replace the terrain with drone scan. And you can see the topo lines in there a little bit, and then it'll match the existing conditions. And we've done this for a few projects. We've done a similar thing with some pursuits using AgTech, if anybody's ever heard of AgTech. AgTech's the 3D surface earthwork estimating software that generates a 3D surface based on 2D PDFs, and you can bring that into a pursuit and replace your terrain so that it accurately represents the existing topography of the major excavation that it matches up with a drawing like that. But same thing here, except we're matching, you know, the real world conditions of this job. And then we added a storm sewer model because all they had was 2D. So that's the stuff we typically do for projects, is we bring it up. We also locate the building using coordinates if possible. So we just kind of massage it all into be a more accurate model so that it's more useful for the project in reality. So this one has been great. It's now a project in the hands of a project engineer, and she is doing all of the editing. I have meetings with this team occasionally, but she is the editor of this project. And like I said, the best part about this is that I'm still involved with this project, and they're still reaching out to me, and I can steer them towards whatever VDC support they need. This, I think, is my last example. And this one was, again, a project that had already started when we got cmBuilder, and this superintendent was, the whole team was very proactive about using cmBuilder, and he this person that I'm working with on this project, he was not doing button clicking as far as editing, but he was using it every day. He was in there showing it to everyone. It was how they were having the meetings. It was the focal point of their project, not just pursuit, but it was the focal point of the project. It's the model, and they were creating all their plans and communicating all their plans with the owner and all the different, the fire department, for example, we had a fire lane established, and this was passed to the fire department, and so we got it pretty well laid out. He did a great job of organizing all his laydowns. He's trying to maintain as much footprint as possible to lay a claim to some space, and did a really good job of figuring out the excavation and sequencing everything all out, and really so useful in creating the plan. So, in the past, with my old method, I could demonstrate our plan to the, say, the owner or whoever we're presenting to, but I was not able to do things fast enough for the team to use what I'm making to make the plan. So the big difference now is we can actually make it, fast enough that it gets far enough ahead of the work or at the pursuit, far enough ahead of the planning for the team to be actively using it. Extremely popular at Alberici. That's just one of the many projects I'm not able to show you. But give you a little window into some of the work we've been doing. And I guess with that, I would open up to anybody has any questions.
Here's Alex.